Hey guys, it's Mike Lipowski. So you and I, we're still riding the training demand train. And the reason is because our success in achieving any type of exercise-specific outcome is going to entail our ability to manage training demands. So today we're talking about frequency. And that's simply how often you're working out or how often you are training a specific muscle group. But before we dive into frequency, I want to backtrack a little to what we spoke about last time. We talked a lot about volume, but we talked about specifically how our goals and how our muscle fiber makeup or our rate of fatigue is really what determines what the proper volume should be. And I hope you really took the time to study up on it. I mean, I know a lot of you guys out there are already very well schooled in the various muscle fiber types and the different characteristics. If you're not, again, go spend some time studying up on this stuff. It's critical to what all this conversation that we're having. But that aside, the same implications that muscle fiber makeup and goals have on volume, they also have on frequency. And by that I mean, we know our slow twitch, endurance-based muscle fibers, well, they're capable of being trained more frequently. And in many instances, they'll need to be. And then on the opposite end of the spectrum, our fast twitch muscle fibers, well, they can't handle the same level of frequency that the slow twitch ones can because they just simply do not recover that quickly. But as we also know, our goals will move us in a lot of different directions because you may be focused in one area, yet your muscle fiber makeup really determines that you should be training completely opposite of that. But it doesn't matter. You have to train specific to your goals. We know that. What we also need to realize is that intensity plays one of the biggest roles in us determining what our training frequency should be. And that's something that we're going to talk about a little bit more later on. First, I just want to make mention, many of you have probably heard of the inverse relationship. That inverse relationship between intensity, volume, and frequency. In that, as one of them increases, the other two must decrease in order to maintain balance in the exercise equation. Now, some people have taken a very narrow and short-sighted view based on the inverse relationship. And really, it's led to them taking a minimalist approach. Then you have some who just completely dismiss it. I mean, these knuckleheads think that you can train every day and it'll never have a negative side effect because they really don't understand, what the result is if you don't have proper balance. So you have those who are very short-sighted, you have those who are complete knuckleheads and dismiss the importance of varying your training frequency as well as the other variables, and each doesn't understand why all the work that they're putting in, no matter how intelligent or how hard it is not paying off. And so frequency it's a critical factor in stimulating gains. But really where frequency probably plays its biggest dividends is in the recovery process. So a while back we also spoke about compensation and overcompensation from exercise stress. And so I just wanted to take a moment to provide you with a little better example of that. So let's pretend for a moment that this bottle of water represents all the resources that you have going into a workout. Now, listen, I've never been good at chugging beer, but I just want to be able to give you a good example of what's going on here. So let's pretend for a moment that, again, these are all the resources you have available. So by the time you're through with your workout, you maybe left yourself with that many resources to recover with. So now, we know that in order to be able to come back and perform at that same level that we did during that workout, we have to replenish all these resources. And the only way that's going to happen is through proper rest. I mean, obviously nutrition does play a role, but at the end of the day, rest is really going to play the biggest role in our ability to replenish these resources. So we want to go from this to this. And so now we're walking back into the gym next time with all our resources available. How long it takes to get to this point, well, that's what we're trying to determine. But also remember that it wasn't just about recovering these resources, because that typically only results in you being able to perform up to the same level that you did last time. So what we're really looking for to happen is to go from this to this. So that's a big difference. We're seeing an increase in our development. Okay, we're seeing an increase in the size of the muscle, an increase in our strength. So this example makes it really easy to understand the stimulus recovery model, but what still confuses things for a lot of people is that there is muscular recovery and then there's systemic recovery. So going back to the example using these water bottles, okay, initially, let's just say that the water bottle represented everything that the muscle had available, all right? And so to recover those resources may only take a day, may take 48 hours. I mean, I can't say for sure, but we do know that based on the muscle's rate of fatigue, if it has a greater number of slow twitch or mixed muscle fibers, it's going to recover faster than if we're fatiguing fast twitch muscle fibers. But also as part of it, as we had alluded to earlier, intensity plays a huge role in that. Because depending upon the level of intensity put forth will determine how much of those fast twitch muscle fibers or mixed muscle fibers were actually worked to exhaustion, or to the point where it's going to take a very long time for them to recover. But anyway, the other part of this is the systemic recovery. All right, so when we're training, again, we're not just depleting the muscles, we're depleting the resources that move to help us with our nervous system, our endocrine system, lymphatic system, and immune system. And so we need to recover all those resources as well. And our recovery resources are finite. You know, we don't have unlimited resources. But what we want to keep in mind is that even though the muscle might recover very quickly, systemically we might not recover as quickly. Now, does that mean that you still cannot train back-to-back days? Absolutely not. But in the end, what it does mean is that you have to take a bigger view of what's going on. You need to look at this from 1,000 feet and see that at a certain point, there's going to be a tipping point where the amount of systemic stress that you're putting on your body is, despite the fact that your muscles might be recovering, is going to limit your ability to overcompensate. And so we want to be able to manage our training frequency so that we're allowing not just for muscular recovery to take place, but also systemic recovery. And that's going to take planning. And that's all this comes down to, is understanding all the factors that go into this and then managing them for the proper training frequency over the long term for long-term results.